Marcus Reed had been waiting for this day for 3 long years. A single father of 2 young children, Emma aged 7 and little Jake aged 4. Marcus had spent every spare moment studying, applying, and preparing for a career that could finally change their lives. The job interview at Hartwell Engineering was not just any interview. It was the opportunity of a lifetime, a senior technician position that came with a salary 3 times what he currently earned at the gas station. He had pressed his only good shirt the night before, shined his shoes until they reflected light, and rehearsed his answers in the bathroom mirror so many times that Emma had started laughing and repeating them back to him at breakfast. He kissed his children goodbye, left them with his neighbor Mrs. Campos, and walked out the door with hope burning in his chest like a quiet fire. The morning was cold and grey, the kind of sky that felt indifferent to human dreams, and Marcus checked his watch every few minutes as he walked toward the bus stop. He was early, which felt like a good sign. He had mapped the route, calculated the travel time, and even added a 15-minute buffer just in case. Everything was going exactly to plan. That was when he saw her. A woman in plain clothes was slumped against the side of an old brick building near the corner of 5th and Monroe, her body half-seated on the ground, her face pale as winter paper. At first Marcus thought she might be sleeping, but something in the angle of her body looked wrong, too still, too heavy. He slowed his steps. Most people on the sidewalk passed her without a glance, heads down, phones out, lost in their own mornings. Marcus stopped. He crouched beside her and gently touched her shoulder, and the moment she opened her eyes, he knew this was not someone resting. This was someone in real trouble. Her lips were faintly blue, her breathing shallow, and she was clutching her left arm. Marcus did not think. He called 911 immediately, described the situation calmly, gave the exact location, and then took off his coat and wrapped it around her, without a second thought about the cold. He held her hand and kept talking to her softly, telling her she was going to be all right, that help was coming, that she just needed to stay with him. He stayed on the ground beside her, even as the minutes ticked past, even as the bus he needed came and went, even as the exact time of his interview approached and then disappeared, entirely into the past. The ambulance arrived in 7 minutes. The paramedics worked quickly and professionally, and before they loaded her into the vehicle, the woman grabbed Marcus by the wrist with surprising strength and looked at him with clear, grateful eyes. She said only, "Thank you. You saved my life." Marcus nodded, retrieved his coat, and stood on the empty sidewalk, feeling the full weight of what he had just given up. He called Hartwell Engineering and explained what had happened. The receptionist was polite but brief. The position was filled on the same day, and there were no other openings. He thanked her and hung up. He rode the bus home quietly, staring out the window, telling himself that he had done the right thing, that no job was worth a human life, even though the ache in his chest said otherwise. What Marcus could not have known was that the woman he had stayed beside was Officer Diana Cruz, a 12-year veteran of the city's police department, who worked undercover narcotics. She had a heart arrhythmia she had been hiding from her doctors for months, and that morning her heart had nearly stopped on a public sidewalk. 2 weeks later, a black SUV pulled up in front of Marcus's apartment building, and Officer Cruz stepped out in her full uniform. She had spent those 2 weeks making phone calls, pulling strings, and speaking personally to the hiring director at Hartwell Engineering. She told Marcus that morning, standing on his doorstep with Emma and Jake peeking around his legs, that an interview had been rescheduled for him, and that the company had been moved to hear the full story of what he had given up. Marcus was hired before the week was over. Sometimes doing the right thing means losing something, and sometimes the universe makes sure that what you lose finds its way back to you with interest. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness True Stories, where real acts of humanity remind us what truly matters.